Hey there, Patriots. So the last lesson we learned the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem gave us a right triangle, and we found a missing side using c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Well, what we're going to talk about is the Pythagorean converse. The converse is going to give you three sides, and you're going to have to figure out if the triangle is a right triangle or not. Because the Pythagorean converse states, if the square of the longest side of a triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, then the triangle is a right triangle. What that is saying, if you have a triangle and it has three side numbers, 3, 4, let's just do a 3, 4, 5 triangle, and I take the longest side and I square it, and it is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, then we have a right triangle. Well, 5 squared is 25. Then I'm going to get 9 plus 16. So 25 equals 25. What that means is this triangle is a right triangle. And it's a right triangle because c squared does equal a squared plus b squared. I didn't give you a right triangle, but I now know it is. What if it's not? What if it's not a right triangle? Well, that's where the Pythagorean converse comes in and kicks it into high gear. So if c squared equals a squared plus b squared, we have a right triangle. Equals is a right. Well, if c squared equals a squared plus b squared, c squared is smaller. Then we have an acute triangle, 3 acute angles. And if c squared is bigger, then we have an obtuse triangle. So this would be an acute triangle, and then we would have our acute. So C, what's going to happen is I'm just going to give you 3 random numbers tomorrow, and C is always going to be the longest side. So if we have C, A, and B, C squared will equal A squared plus B squared. If we have an acute triangle with sides A, B, and C, C squared is going to be smaller than A squared plus B squared. And if I have an obtuse triangle where C is the longest side and the other two sides are A and B, then C squared will be bigger than A squared plus B squared. Alrighty, so that's the basic overdown on what the theorem actually is. So if you have any questions, make sure that you come in with those questions to ask your teacher when you see them. And Patriots, we will see you when we see you.